1990s Omega DPK in the house at Crossroad Cues. This beautiful wrapless cue just hit the inventory. I've had a chance to hit some balls with it and check it out thoroughly. And needless to say, I am very, very impressed, but I would not expect any less. This is a 1994 or 95 era Omega DPK. Very rare bird right here. I've already verified this cue. The gentleman that sent me this cue that had it in his collection reached out to Matt Bender. Matt, of course, the brother of the world-renowned master, Mr. Mike Bender in Alaska. They both worked in the Omega DPK shop, of course, that was started under the tutelage of the Grand Master of cue making himself, Mr. David Paul Kirschenbrock. Matt remembered the cue, and what he indicated also that the reason why it is actually a one-of-a-kind cue, it has 10 points. It actually looked like it was 12, but I counted them a few times. It is a 10-point, that's Ebony, of course, into Birdseye, but he said that at that point, they had never put this many points in a cue. So it was a unique design. It also has, in the middle of the handle section, we like to call that the slick handle. You can see all the streaks in the ebony. It's beautiful. It's got black and brown ebony, real streaky all the way through. But in the center here, you have an additional 10 floating diamond-shaped window inlays. Okay, those are actually diamond-shaped, as you can see, and it looks like they are also made from Birdseye Maple. Very ornate design. Of course, this has the unique pin, just like a Bender cue. That is a 3/8 by 14 pin. If you are not familiar with Omega DPK cues, or you're not familiar with the work of the Bender brothers, okay, I'll give you just a little tiny bit of background. Mike Bender is a world-renowned cue maker, but he's also notably one of the greatest or the most knowledgeable machinists when it comes to the cue makers. Many of your master level cue makers, they started off as machinists. Mike and his brother Matt, that we verified this cue with, they worked together again in the shop, and it was actually started in Chicago, and then at one point Mike left the shop and moved to Alaska where he makes his cues. But the Omega DPK shop also, of course, was famous because of the fact that David Paul Kirschenbrock himself was in the shop. Now, I don't know what cues he worked on, what cues he didn't work on. There's no way to verify that, but I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is an Omega DPK. There's the symbol right there, and again, it was verified with Matt Bender. You can also tell by the pin, the 3/8 14. You know, what's amazing to me, and you can look at different cues and how they're constructed, and it's always amazing to me how one cue can hit so much better than the other. Okay, so for instance, this cue, obviously it's got Birdseye Maple on the front. You've got a basic black collar right there at the joint collar, and then of course that very, very, very unique pin. But when you screw a shaft on one of these cues, whether it be an Omega cue, a DPK cue, a Bender cue, when you screw a shaft on, you can tell that it's master level machinery. I mean, that thing just screws on so nice and snug, and it just kind of as smooth as butter, if that makes sense. The other thing about it is, here's a cue. Oh, by the way, Matt said, I think I mentioned it earlier, this cue would have been made right around 94, 95 is what he indicated, okay? But now think of this. Look how old this cue is, and it's really clean, by the way. But you can tell there's no movement, there's no variation. This thing just rolls silky silky smooth. That is master level craftsmanship, but it's not about the looks. This is a very cool looking cue, but when you strike a ball with one of these cues, you can see a noticeable difference. The ball just moves effortlessly, and they have a very, very distinctive and very unique hit to them. There are a few minor marks like on the butt cap, nothing really to speak of. I'm just trying to point out everything I can see. A few little marks, no dents or dings in the handle here, no dents or dings up top. I love the 10 points though. These are so cool. Just the design of it, how it's really ornate, but I'm telling you, when you hit a ball with it, you know that you've hit a ball with something really special. And then again, look how smooth that thing rolls. The butt on this is 16 ounces. The shafts, you've got 2 shafts that are both coming up at 3.4. Those are natural ferrules. There's no overseas shipping. There's also some shipping restrictions based on where you live. You might need to just come on up here and pick it up. Anyway, you got 2 shafts that are 3.4. They're both 12.5, so 12.5 millimeter. Now I'm going to point something else out to you, gang, just so you can see, because you know that we are all about full transparency. Both of the shaft inserts are a little bit different. So what that tells me, number one of the shafts could have been replaced, or they're the original shafts, possibly. There's no way for me to verify that. And maybe the insert needed to be replaced. But either way, they are a perfect marriage to the cue. I'm going to try to show you right there. They fit perfectly, and they're both really good, what I call growth maple shafts. You can see the rings going through there. So again, I cannot tell you for sure if these are the original shafts or if maybe one of them was replaced or whatever the case is. The shaft collars are both the same size, which would indicate to me that they are both the shafts that came in a pair, but the insert is a little bit different. No big deal. Sometimes the insert can crack inside, or through age or through maybe trying to put it on the wrong cue, and then in some cases somebody would have to replace that. So no big deal. That wouldn't personally bother me, but we are all about full transparency. We would rather underpromise and overdeliver. You've got a few marks on the shaft collars right there, just a few right there. There's a few right there. No big deal. I mean, this is pretty average wear and tear for a cue that's as old as this is. A couple marks at the bottom, and then there was just a couple at the top of the joint right there that I could see. But again, no dings, no dents, no big scratches besides what I've pointed out to you. One shaft has a taper roll. So one is really, really straight. The butt rolls straight. Everything rolls straight together. One shaft has a little bit of a lift in the center, but the tip does not move off the table. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a DPK Omega Cue, Omega DPK in your collection, this is a perfect opportunity to get a cue that was made at that legendary shop in Chicago. You don't see them come up for sale very often. We actually sold one recently. They don't last for a long time when somebody lets one out of their collection. This cue has all the makings of a great everyday player if you choose that you want to use it that way, or if you just want to have a cue that is extremely well crafted, that has a lot of really cool lineage directly connected to one of the most famous, of course, cue makers ever in history, a pioneer himself. So there you go, Omega DPK, available right now for immediate delivery. You can send me a message through the website, crossroadcues.com. If you need some financing, we have financing options. If you'd like to talk to me about this cue or any of our products, you can call me. My number's on the post. Send me a PM, or you can send me an email again at crossroadcues.com. Omega, wrapless, dangerous playing machine, Omega DPK at crossroadcues.com.